Hey everyone, it's Abby. Today let's continue making my king-sized Celtic quilt. This is part 2. I'll be focusing on making one of the lover's knot squares. I will have to make 12 of these. I'm going to be alternating the blue and green parts once I get around to making the rest of the squares. So let's get started! I'll be doing the True Lover's Knot quilt square in alternating colors, with the Gordian knot as the centerpiece. You can see I've figured out the color placement here. With the True Lover's quilt squares, I'm going to be doing a knot at each of the 4 corners, and I've figured out some of the color choices. I don't think I'll be using the black. It'll just be the light green and the light blue. I start with cutting strips of each of the 3 colors that I will be using for the True Lover's Knot square. They all needed to be the same width, so I figured out what that would be and marked at intervals on my ruler with bright green tape. The square consists of 4 similar smaller squares sewn together in a pattern. I will be doing each of these steps in 4s to create one whole square. I cut the small center squares. The cream squares are slightly bigger than the rest. I machine sew those in a line using a 1/4 inch seam allowance. I don't need to anchor the thread as I will be sewing back over these areas again. I press those seams. There will be a lot of all these steps, so I usually keep the iron on and the board set up. I measure using my previous sewn piece and cut 8 of that size out of the green. I also cut 4 of the same size in cream. I continually check my reference picture. The pattern is really complex and I need to keep it straight. I machine sew the green strips. I press those same strips. I machine sew the next set of green strips. I then flip them around and sew the cream strips on the other side. I press all of those seams flat. There is a lot of repetition in quilting. Next I have a cream and green strip to sew on each side. All sewn up. And a cream strip at the bottom. This next side strip consists of one cream square, one green square, and a longer cream strip. I'll need to sew them all together before attaching them to the side of my main square. It's time to start in on the blue section. I add the side blue strip. Next, the bottom blue strip. You can see I'm preparing the top multicolored strip as well. I also need to press these before attaching. I add a cream and blue strip at the same time. Time for the last multicolored strip and the bottom cream strip. Now you can see how all of them fit together. I need to attach green around all the sides. Attaching the top green strip. With all the squares complete, I can sew them all together. You can see how now that the square is done, that all of the lines look like they intertwine, kind of like a Celtic knot. Which is kind of awesome because obviously I'm making a Celtic knot quilt. I really like the effect, even though it's kind of tricky and time consuming. So, I don't know, I think it's turning out. I really like it. Look at all that backing. There was a lot of pressing involved. Kind of crazy. 11 more left to do. Thank you for joining me today as I continued working on my king-sized Celtic knot quilt. I think the squares are going to look great. I'll be making the rest of the 11 squares concurrently. It's easier to do all the same parts all at once, but it takes a lot more time. I find making one square first helps to have a reference to look at when you're making the rest of the squares. Keep an eye out for the next quilt video in the future. If you liked this video and want to see more sewing and costume videos, remember to subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, let me know in the comments below. Happy sewing! Hello. Oh, she's a good girl. Oh, a dog. And hug. And squeeze. And then Beanie whines at us. Get that toy, get it. Beanie.